Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Audacity Show. Today's episode is titled Ramadan, the Blueprint for Discipline. Eid Mubarak, Eid al-Fitr. Today's the last day of Ramadan 2026, and it marks my 11th year observing Ramadan, alhamdulillah. And this episode is really just a reflection, not just on Ramadan itself, but on what it's done for me over the past 11 years. It's really changed my life. But because when I first started, I thought Ramadan was just about fasting. I didn't really understand. I thought it was just more another religion, another Bible, fasting from not eating, not drinking. But over time, I realized it's really about one thing, one key principle, and that's discipline. And not just discipline during Ramadan necessarily, but the kind of discipline that carries into every aspect of your life, like it did for me. So, what Ramadan really is, for those who may not fully understand, it's not just about fasting from food and water. You're fasting from bad habits, negative thoughts, toxic behaviors, distractions, even your own impulses like desire, lust, temptation. It's a full reset. It's a detoxification period for your mind, body, and soul. You're learning how to control yourself, your emotions, your thoughts. That's something most people struggle with on a daily basis. So Ramadan isn't about depriving yourself. It's about refining yourself. A reset that's necessary for us all. And it makes it easier when you are in alignment with millions of people across the world at this time doing the same thing. Now, as I stated, discipline is the foundation. What I've learned over the last 11 years is that everything comes back to discipline. If I had to picture it, discipline is, at the center, and everything else branches off from it. Like when we used to do a web diagram, right? Because once you build discipline, you naturally build other things. Like for example, time management. So during Ramadan, you don't just eat whenever you want. You're eating at specific times, like sunrise, sunset. You're starting to plan your day better. You become more intentional with your time. It also builds routine and structure. You're waking up earlier, you're more organized, your days stop being random, and start having that structure. You start being in alignment with your intentions, your goals, your circadian rhythm, right? It also helped develop boundaries. You learn how to say no. Not only no to, food impulses, but no to distractions, no to the things that don't serve you anymore. And that carries into your personal life, your professional life, relationships, everything. So it also builds communication. You're more mindful of what you say. You're not engaging in gossip, negativity, or pointless conversations. You're really intentional about every moment of the day. And again, this is what Ramadan has helped me with, but little by little, it just became a habit that trickled down to my everyday life. It also helped build confidence. This is a big one because now you're proving to yourself, like, I can control myself. I can control my thoughts. I can control my emotions, my desires, my reaction, right? And once you have that, your confidence just naturally grows. It helped me strengthen faith and belief. You start trusting the process, not just in a religious sense, but the process of everything you're dealing with. You realize you're capable of more than you thought. That's why I say discipline is the gateway. Once you build that, everything else follows. So when you start realizing that you're more capable of what you originally thought, you start noticing that you were just limiting yourself. You realize that I don't have to eat, 6 times a day like society tells us to. Um, I can fast not only during Ramadan, right? Sunrise, sunset, But once you come off Ramadan, naturally, like today was the first day since Ramadan, right? Ramadan technically, um, fasting ended last night. So today was the first full day going back to normal post Ramadan. But your body is just used to the fast, right? So I didn't even eat anything till noon, 1 p.m. Had a quick little snack. Again, went a long stretch, and I just had dinner maybe at 6:30 p.m., right? And I still feel good. I still feel light. Probably won't need to eat the rest of the night, stay hydrated. But this literally has changed my life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, biologically, right? Um, for me personally, it didn't just stay in Ramadan. It translated into everything. Every little aspect of my life. In work, I became better with time, more focused, more consistent, less procrastination. In professional relationships, I developed stronger boundaries. I don't overextend myself. I communicate better. And that's important because you know, I work in human services. You have to establish those boundaries immediately with peers, co-workers, clients, patients, residents, visitors, partners, organizations. You don't overextend yourself. At least I don't anymore. So I became a, you know, adamant about just following my job description, my duties, responsibilities. Obviously, all hands on deck mentality where if someone's out, I can pitch in and help. But I also don't let that become a habit and people take advantage of your time, especially if you are underpaid, overlooked, undervalued. I communicate better. I believe in myself. I believe in my abilities. I believe in the value I bring. I'm an asset anywhere I go, and I truly believe that. So I have to communicate better and communicate with that confidence. People feel that energy. People start not only believing your words or hearing your words, they start really, really believing in you as a person. Now, in my personal life, I have more structure, more routine, more control over my emotions and decisions. And when I say more structure and routine, I got into Islam, started practicing Islam in 2015 while I was incarcerated. And naturally, when you're incarcerated, there's already sort of a routine. You have to wake up for breakfast super early in the morning, 6, 7 a.m. You have lunch early, anywhere between 10 to noon, right? 10 a.m. to noon time. And dinner time behind the wall is 4 p.m. Now, that routine spilled over to my everyday life post incarceration. Because now I knew, okay, I should be waking up early, behind the wall. By the time it hit dinner time, I had a ton of things done. I went to groups, meetings, work, studies, anything I did. By the time I hit dinner time, I've had a productive day. And even after that, you could still, hit the gym. You probably already hit it in the morning. You could do 2 a days and go again at night, right? Because you're just staying busy, and then you have time to, you know, partake in activities with your peers and um, fellow brothers during this time. So you learn how to balance, work, development, but also socializing. Socialization is important. As far as control over my emotions and decisions, I've made questionable decisions in my life, which I paid the consequences for, and I don't regret any of them. You learn from them, right? I don't get emotional anymore. If there's a decision that I make that maybe perhaps doesn't go my way, I don't get emotional about it. I sit back, think logically, what could I have done better? What did I learn from this? And now I know how to move forward the next time. You can't sit with those emotions. That's what, builds lack of confidence, right? lowers your self-esteem, right? You start doubting yourself, and now those negative thoughts creep in. There's no more of that. And even when they do, right? Because nobody's perfect. Even when they do slip through the cracks, you're more mindful and aware of these things. So you know how to address them internally or, with someone else, whether it's expressing to someone how you feel, venting. Maybe you have a close family member, loved ones to vent to, a partner, a therapist, right? Co-worker. Whoever you feel comfortable with venting and expressing yourself in your most vulnerable state, that's who should be a part of your support system. And, you should utilize that support system as much as you can. And, Ramadan didn't just change my habits, it changed how I move in life, period. I've experienced over these last 11 years a sense of unity where, now I should say authentic unity, because there's always states, you go through phases in life when you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, work environments, professional environments, right? Where you feel united. You have your little cohort, clique of friends or whatnot. But it's different when it comes to the brotherhood, practicing Islam, the Muslims, especially during Ramadan. We all struggling, we all going through it, we all hungry, we all lightheaded, right? We all are questioning it. But when those thoughts kick in, you start to you start to remember the millions and millions of people out there that are going through these struggles, and that's the whole point of fasting. So you can feel those hunger pains, that lightheadedness, that the people that go without, that don't have any food, that feel these pains and have to fast all day and night because they lack food. They don't have enough resources to obtain this food. So you start learning how to not indulge in things anymore. There's a real brotherhood and sisterhood during Ramadan. Everyone is going through the same struggle. It creates connection, like a real bond. Personally, I've never really experienced discrimination within the Muslim community. They know I'm, I wasn't born into Islam. They can, they can sense it. Most of the people I interact with are from, Syria, Turkey, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Morocco, parts of Africa, other parts of Asia, India, and they know that I'm not native to the religion, but they love the fact that I'm putting effort into learning the religion and, integrating in their culture, right? Because I have my own culture being of Puerto Rican descent, but also American culture being born in America. And all I'm doing is kind of blending in the cultures of, Puerto Rico, America, Muslim culture, and just molding it to something that fits me, is in alignment with what I want to do with my life. And they respect that. And I appreciate and I'm grateful that they give me that space to learn. They don't, you know, overcomplicate things. They don't push anything on me. We just celebrated or we just had iftar on Wednesday night. I participated in iftar at the local masjid, and the brothers there saved this, invited me to iftar, saved the seat for me, share some of their food with me, right? These things do not go unnoticed, at least for me. It's different because growing up, the things being shared aren't always beneficial to you. People are offering you alcohol, drugs, smoking, you know, bad decision making, criminal activity. And I did partake in that at some time in my life. So being around people that are offering you something different, something that can benefit you in life, is just a gratifying feeling. And that's powerful, especially in a world where there's so much division, right? It's always been acceptance, support, and unity when it comes to the culture of Islam. Now, the current climate is a different story, right? Because at the same time, we're living in a world where there's still a lot of misunderstanding and even negativity towards Muslims. Islamophobia is a real thing. Even recently, you're seeing tensions and conflicts involving Muslim countries during Ramadan. How disrespectful is it that the US government decides to attack a Muslim country during Ramadan? It's the ultimate sign of disrespect. It shows lack of awareness for what this time means to the people. Just imagine how Americans would feel if all of a sudden they're celebrating Christmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas night with their families, open up presents, and they wake up to bombs dropping around them, their surroundings, in their native home. That's what the American government is doing to Iran, to Palestine, right? To countries in Africa, Nigeria, right? Places like this, they're feeling that, right? It's disrespect, total disrespect. It shows how important it is to stay grounded in your beliefs and your discipline, regardless of what's happening externally. So, regardless of what's going on around them, these people still find time to pray 5 times a day, right? They still find time to make it to the masjid, the mosque, right? These mosques are getting blown up in their face. And these people are so disciplined and intentional that they go pray in the rubble, amongst the smoke, dust, bodies. You gotta respect it. Their belief is stronger than their belief internally is stronger than anything externally that's happening around them. And that's how we should be in real life. Obviously not to that extreme as what they're going through. You know, God willing, right? Inshallah. But if you apply that to your everyday life, even with the simplest things, you will be different for the better. You will be stronger, more resilient. One of the most important parts of this episode is that you don't even have to be Muslim to apply this in your everyday life. I'm not pushing Islam on anybody, right? You can believe what you believe in. I respect it. The Quran respects it. The Quran mentions, Catholics and Christians and Jews several times in a good way. They see it as just another religion. They have no beef. Whatever the media told you, it's all fake news, like your man says, right? You don't have to follow Islam to practice discipline. Ramadan is a system. It's 30 days of discipline, reset, detox, focus, structure. Anyone can take that concept and apply it. You can do your own version of a 30-day reset. Doesn't even have to be during Ramadan. But you can use that blueprint and apply it to a time in your life where you feel you need a reset. Cut out distractions, control your habits, build structure. Right? Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about religion. It's really not at all. It's about self-mastery. I don't believe I'm a religious person. I don't. I'm talking about Islam and Ramadan, but I feel like Ramadan is more spiritual than religious because it's about self-mastery. It's about controlling You. The only thing you can control is you. Your actions, your thoughts, your habits, your decisions. Anything else around you, it's irrelevant. Doesn't concern you unless you let it. What I also find powerful is the timing, right? Especially this year. This year, Ramadan came right at the end of winter, cold winter in the Northeast. Actually, in the country, record snowfall this winter. And now we're ending Ramadan, going into spring. Today is the first day of spring. Happy New Year. Happy spring equinox. That's really symbolic because winter is a time of stillness, of stagnation, death. When I say death, you see the plants, the leaves fall, the animals go into hibernation. But then springtime comes around and it's a time of growth, right? Flowers are blooming, the animals are coming out, the sun is setting, it's beaming stronger out there, right? It's just different, it feels different. So it's like we're cleansing ourselves just in time to step into a new season with clarity and focus, ready for that growth, ready to receive that growth, ready to, see those seeds we planted during the fall, the winter harvest season I always talk about. We're ready to see them come to fruition and bloom now, going into spring. These are important times. We're seeing a shift in the world during this time. You have people like the mayor of New York, first Muslim mayor in history, held iftar at City Hall, first time, right? Now, even Mr. Mayor is controversial, right? There's a lot of controversy surrounding him. But if you recall my last episode where it was titled So It Begins, when I titled it So It Begins, it was the chaos was beginning. I knew it would come. The mess, the volatility, turbulence, right? Anxiety for people. I knew Namdani would feel pressure. I mentioned it in the title, in the last episode, excuse me, because they didn't want him there in the first place. The people spoke, the people chose him. And the last thing they want to see is the cultures and the religions that they hate so much start to build traction and popularity amongst the people, especially in what they, claim is theirs, their, state capitals, buildings, and city halls and churches and stuff like that, right? Especially in a major city like New York, probably one of the most important cities in the world, easily. They don't want to see that snowball into a country who follows a Muslim. They don't want to see that. That's the last thing. I talked about the disrespect. They killed the Iranian leader during Ramadan. Not only him, they killed his daughter, granddaughters, nieces. His son is wounded out there. They killed his assistants, his, people in leadership with him. I want you to, and I'm not defending anyone. I'm speaking as a human, right? As humankind, put yourself in those shoes of those people. Imagine your leader goes through something like that where he gets taken out and everybody around him gets taken out. Imagine the chaos, the confusion, the destruction. Imagine the pain, the anxiety, the stress. America wouldn't know what to do with a situation like that. it would just topple over, crumble. The fall of America forever. Right? So you got to put yourself in those shoes. And when we talk about the fall of America, you're starting to see signs of it. Warning signs. We got to pay attention to these things. I've talked about the prophetic signs, like the Hopis in the past, going into the fifth world. Red Star Kachina. This is the purification time. You got to see chaos before you see order. Edgar Casey, his predictions, these volcanoes, these volcanic activity, all of these things coming to the surface, literally and figuratively speaking, right? New lands being uncovered, new scriptures, new technology, new beliefs. Old beliefs are getting washed out. People don't believe in the government anymore. People don't believe in politics anymore. People don't believe in the education system anymore. They're starting to question religion as a whole. What are you going to do in this time? Are you going to allow this to continue and you just sit back and watch the destruction, watch the demise of the world as we know it? Or are you going to pursue being a better person? Just that's all you got to do. That's how you can contribute. Is be a better you. For your family, for your loved ones, for your people, your culture, your society. That will translate into the world. It's a shift happening. And we have to take part in that shift as a collective. As above, so below. As so within, so without. Times are changing. And you got to change with the times. You got to adapt. You got to adjust. Or you get left behind. I've said this on several occasions. You know. Now, I really wanted to, as Ramadan comes to an end, I really wanted to reflect on how much this has shaped me personally over the years. If there's one thing I want the people to take from this, is that discipline is everything. The more you can control yourself, the less everything else controls you. That's what Ramadan taught me. Right? Learn how to control yourself. Be who you want to be. Be intentional. Be authentic. Have the audacity to be yourself. This is more of a inspirational, motivational video than an informative video. This is a time where we must stand up for ourselves, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, in all aspects of our life. 1% better, right? Help those around you. In Islam, one of the most important pillars is dua, zakat, right? These are like charity, right? Charity, volunteer your time. Give back to your community. This is only my second episode this year. It's been almost 2 months since my first episode, and it's not because I don't have nothing to say. It's because I've been busy contributing to my development professionally, personally, physically, to my community. I take 4 classes in college right now, 2 jobs, a full-time, damn near another full-time, 60 plus hours every week, different shifts, morning, night shifts. Plus, I volunteer and contribute to my community, whether it's with the homeless community, the reentry community, helping those coming back from incarceration, those dealing with mental health. I also take part in seminars when I can. Shout out to D1, got a social change seminar the past couple weeks at Tufts University. I've been partaking in that. There's another session coming up in a couple days, right? Free of charge, free game, I'm there. Whatever I can do to benefit myself, but in return support others. My brother runs a nonprofit for the homeless. Whatever I can to contribute, I'm there. He needed people to advocate for his organization in front of city council a couple days ago. I was there, front line. Speech in hand, ready, front line. For the people. It's beautiful, right? Doesn't always have to be monetary. I see, this is something that I used to think about all the time, especially when I was in the streets getting easy money. I thought, man, I'll just donate some money, throw a little bread here and there, and I'll be straight. The more bread you give out, the more bread people ask for. So I learned what's more important than giving out anything monetary is giving your time, sharing your wisdom, knowledge, sharing your experience, resources. I've been piling up, gathering up resources during this time, right? Because I see where we're going. The economy is not doing well. Rents are high, right? Inflation. We got a war in the Middle East where oil and gas now shooting up at a time when we can't even afford food, utilities now, gas and all this, that's going to limit transportation. Housing is a mess, right? I work with individuals who, either have disabilities, mental health, right? Substance use disorders. I can't get them into housing. Their benefits are being lowered or cut. This is a crucial time for us. And I've been talking about it the past year or two, dropping videos, dropping episodes. I like to stay, I like to think the Audacity show is a combination of education and entertainment, right? We're going to entertain you with some things, some information here, some predictions here, some free game. But we're not going to entertain you with the gossip and the bullshit like everybody else. We don't got time for that. This ain't the time for that. I'm here to educate. I'm here to share the information as a communicator. And I hope people are grasping this. If you can take one thing away from this, I did my job. Today I want you to take away discipline. The blueprint for Ramadan is discipline. Apply that to all aspects of your life. You don't have to be Muslim. You don't have to start reading the Quran. You don't have to start going to your local mosque, masjid. Nah, be yourself. Believe in yourself. Be intentional. Sit down with your own thoughts, your own feelings, emotions, your own experiences, and decide, what do you want to do with this? How can I help others? Because in return, you're going to help yourself. I'm at peace with whatever. Because I made peace with my past, with my present, so I'm okay with my future. Right? It's the greatest time to be alive. Remember to remain authentic. Give back to your community. We're here for the people. Ain't nothing else to talk about. We're here for the people. So inshallah, we're going to keep this thing going. We got more information, more episodes coming again, inshallah. And again, if you can take even one piece of this and apply it to your life, you start to see real change. Right? So, alhamdulillah, thank you. Thank you for being here. For whoever took the time to stay from the first minute opening to this last minute closing. I appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, stay focused, stay disciplined, and stay authentic. End the transmission.